Greetings and welcome to another edition of The Great Goddess. Praise be to Goddess. Praise be to Goddess. Well, here it is, another Wednesday, and today we have for you a very important subject, and that subject is sex. Now, I know a lot of you have your own opinions on sex that have been drummed into you by your parents, and that's okay. We all have our own feelings about sex and our own opinions about sex. I'm not here to recommend free love to you or tell you to have sex with everyone in sight, because there's some people that do that, and that's their own business. What I will say is that suppressing the sexual urge is a natural thing to suppress your sexual urges, but in some cases it would be a good thing to suppress your sexual urges, but in general, as long as sex is between two consensual adults, there's no reason why you shouldn't have sex if it's between two consensual adults. So in some cases it's good to suppress your sexual urges. Obviously you shouldn't be having sexual urges toward minors, 14 or 15-year-old girls, that sort of thing, and or boys, and you shouldn't be going after minors anyway, because that's against the law. But it's not moral. It's not a moral thing to do to go after minors. But it sometimes, if you are having those sort of urges, I recommend that you suppress them, because those are not good. Those are not good. But in general, it's okay between two consenting adults to have sex with two adults. Adult is someone that's over 18 and consensual. It has to be agreed upon by both parties, and both parties have to be consenting at all times. You can't just give your consent and then be done with it. You have to be consenting at all times. So, but the thing about sex is that a lot of people are uptight and try to suppress people who are even two consensual adults. Like, for example, they try to suppress gays because they're two men or two women, and that sort of thing is wrong to suppress. If you're gay or a lesbian, it's okay, and you don't have to suppress your sexual urges. You can go find a lover, and it's fine. It's just fine. Now, a good example of suppressing sexual urges would be the case of the Maharishi. I'm sure you've all heard of the Maharishi and the Beatles and their relationship with the Maharishi. Now, they were very, very upset with the Maharishi because the Maharishi supposedly had a fling while he was there, and he had claimed to be a celibate. Now, I think they were more angry. that he lied to them and said he was celibate, and then went ahead and had a girlfriend. But the Maharishi himself did not tell people to suppress their sexual urges. He believed that moral behavior would follow naturally from meditation, which is questionable in itself, but not that there's anything wrong with meditation, but it's not going to make somebody moral who isn't. So the thing is, what the Maharishi if the Maharishi did have a relationship, not saying he did, not saying he did, we don't know what the situation was because it was all hearsay. But if he did, he was just following Goddess's plan for him. Because Goddess's plan is for us to act upon our sexual urges within reason, to be sexual beings. We are all sexual beings. We're born with an innate sexual urge. And it's okay. As long as it's consensual, it's okay. And so the Maharishi was just, if he did act upon his sexual urges, he was just following Goddess's plan. And he could not resist Goddess's will for him. Okay, he may have tried to resist. He may have tried to resist Goddess's will, but he could not resist Goddess's will. If she wanted to work through him and wanted him to have a sexual relationship, he couldn't be stopped. And a lot of these gurus from India claim to be celibates, and then they turn out not to be celibates. They all turn out to have sexual relationships with their followers. And I'm not saying it's wrong for them to have sexual relationships with their followers, but they shouldn't preach that having sexual relations is wrong. Okay, that's what they teach. They teach that in order to attain enlightenment, you have to be celibate. And this is what they teach their followers, and they expect celibacy from their followers. But then they don't follow that themselves. They go ahead and do whatever they feel like. And then they make excuses like, well, I'm enlightened, so it doesn't matter. That sort of thing. And Goddess's plan for us is to be sexual beings. Her plan for us is to be sexual beings and follow our sexual urges within reason. Within reason being between two consensual adults. Or 3 or 4 if you're into that sort of thing. But not everybody is into group sex. So that's something I recommend personally. I don't object to it if it's all consensual, but that's a great way to catch AIDS and sex diseases. So I would not recommend that in general. But these gurus all preach celibacy, and then they turn out not to be celibate, and they have all these followers, and they have multiple sex partners with these followers. So they just take their pick, and they use their charm and their charisma to gain sex. And they shouldn't do that. That's objectionable because they are followers, and they shouldn't use their followers that way. And I guess it's okay to have a sex with a follower of yours as long as you don't have multiple partners, and as long as it's consensual, as long as you're not using your charisma to gain that person as your lover. It is possible for that to happen, to have a relationship with one of your groupies or whatever, but it's not strictly ethical. So I wouldn't recommend that in general, but it's okay if you have an understanding that you're an equal with that person and not trying to use religion to get somebody into the sack. That would be wrong. So it's a complicated subject. The subject of religious leaders and their sexuality, because they're so charismatic and because they can use religion to try to land sexual partners, it can be objectionable at times. But it's okay for a sexual leader to have a wife or a partner, and I think they should. I think they should have a permanent sexual partner. And in fact, it's probably a good idea, because look at all the scandals with the church. They have these guys that don't have sex for years, and then they're going after little kids because they're easy targets for sex. And the priesthood is attracted pedophiles and people who take advantage of children for many years. And it's not ethical at all. It's not reasonable. And it's not good. It's very, very negative, very heavy karma for these priests that are pedophiles that are doing this. And for the ones that cover it up, there's heavy karma for them too. They take on the karma of the pedophiles when they cover for them and protect them. So that's it. Sex in general, okay between consensual adults, and religious leaders have to follow certain moral codes. They can't use religion to get a sex partner. They shouldn't use religion to get a sex partner. If they want to date, if they want to have a normal relationship and want to date someone who happens to be one of their followers, that's fine, as long as they don't have multiple partners that they're getting in the sack using their charisma. I'm Sarah Jane Alphawolf signing off. Have a terrific week, and very soon purification will start. It's going to start within 2 weeks, so start getting ready now for purification.